felt so terrible about myself. I felt terrible about everything. And I just completely felt like I had regressed. I made so much progress just to go back to what? I was so devastated. And it was hard because once you let that sin back in, it's hard to just stop. So I, fornicated a couple times, and I had, I was in sin. And so my sister Stephanie, she was still in DC, and she's really the only connect that I had there. And so it always felt good just being around her, because she's a believer, so I don't feel so crazy around another believer, right? So I think December rolls around. Actually, mind you, November actually. It's, as you can see on the channel, I did something called T-Vember, and November is like where God started to kind of remind me of not even remind me, he started to warn me of like, okay, I know that you feel bad about where you are, about what you did, but you have the power to choose. You don't have to stay here. If you stay here, it's because you choose to. And if you choose to stay here, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to take my hands off of your life, because you're choosing your past. You're choosing this over what I have for you. You know what I have for you, And he was like, okay, you could either choose this or you could choose that. And so in my right mind, I would never choose my past, right? But it's not really about past versus present. It was faith or fear or faith. Which one are you going to choose? Because fear keeps you in your past. Past being your baby father, past being your grandma, past being old habits, past being... The fear keeps you bound by these things. And when you're fearful, you choose familiar spirits, which are people who house that narcissistic spirit, like my grandma and my baby father. But faith requires more of you. It sounds better, right? It feels better, but it takes a lot to actually operate in faith. Move when I tell you to move. Step when I tell you to step. When you can't see what's next. And so that entire November, I was wrestling with that. Like, I knew I wasn't going to choose fear, but I still had an issue fully coming into agreement with faith. Now, God demonstrated certain things to me that month. So I went to a lot of networking events, and I was able to see people who were doing unorthodox work and were successful at it because they had faith in whatever their faith was. So I've seen people, a clothing designer, she's successful at it. Her business just allowed her to travel to freaking London, I think she said, and like live this life. And it's not just about materialism. It's just about the fact that she's successful. I met other people who like just spoke words of wisdom to me, and being around people whose mindset was at a place where mine wasn't fully at was so inspirational, and it moved me a lot. And God also demonstrated to me during that time that like there have been a couple times where I left the house with no money, and then I came back to the house with money. Randomly, God would make provision for me in the form of money without me knowing it, expecting it, even asking for it. And so I knew that was God showing me that like, I got you. Wherever you go, I got you. You can attain these things too. Nothing is out of reach for you. You have to be in agreement with me though. You have to choose faith. November, I was a little burnt out, but I also knew that like, okay, it's December. 2025 is around the corner. I have to lock in. I have to figure out what we're going to do. So I took a break from YouTube, but I knew that I was going to still record things. And I did. I recorded footage from December up until now that I will be uploading in waves, probably like a 3-part series or something like that. So you can actually see real time what was happening. So December comes, and I just know that like, I'm moving. Like, I'm moving soon. Like, I know, I just know it, right? And so, I'm watching Tiffany Buckner, and she's talking about poverty or something like that. And something she said just sparked something in me. So I'm like, let me just apply for jobs, right? So I started applying for jobs in Dallas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Started applying. I'm getting callbacks. I'm having interviews. They're going well. I had a few offers, a few people interested in me, but it didn't really go anywhere because I was not down here yet. And then I had a counterfeit situation. There was a job opportunity that pays you to relocate and pays you like everything. And so they're based in Ohio. And so they were like, yeah, you would come to Ohio and we would give you like money for a housing stipend. We give you money to move and do all that. You stay up here for 6 months. And after 6 months, you choose where you want to work and we pay you to relocate too. And so basically, if I would have went that way, the plan would have been to go to Cincinnati for 6 months and then relocate to Dallas on their dime. And that's how it would have ended up in Dallas. But something about it just didn't feel right. Nothing about it felt right. And then it sounds good at first, right? But the more I talked to them, the more they were like, oh, well, like the moving fee, the moving stuff is like reimbursed. And I'm like, reimbursed? I don't have the money to do that. I don't have the money to just up it. And then I was thinking of like schools for the kids. What am I going to do with the kids for 6 months while I go into office for training? You know, like it just didn't feel all the way right. So I asked God, like, if it's not for me, remove it. And so that's what he did. I went on 3 interviews, and then after the third round, they denied me. And I was like, okay, thank you, Lord. I know that was not of you. As good as it sounded, as tempting as it was, I don't want to do anything that's not from you. Because me doing stuff on my own accord got me here, and I'm not trying to do things on my own anymore. That was out of the picture, right? I had some more interviews. I had an interview for a job I actually really didn't want, but I did the interview. They extended me an offer, and so I think I accepted the offer, but essentially I have an offer letter, right, saying how much money that I will make yearly, which on paper it says six figures first year, right? But I'm like, okay, not thinking anything of it. So after that, I kind of just stopped applying for jobs. I don't know, like I don't feel led to keep applying for jobs. So I let that go, and then I'm kind of like, we halt for a minute, right? And so I feel God kind of telling me to go on a fast, another 3-day dry fast for deliverance again, for the same spirits that you just let back in. We got to get them things out of you. And so I knew that I wouldn't be able to move forward if I did not complete this fast. Now, I'm not opposed to fasting. I did not want to fast in my kid's father's house, though, because I just knew it would be very hard for me to do. But I also knew that like I would be holding myself up the longer I hold out fasting. So I just had to do it, right? So I did a 3-day dry fast, and I got free. I got free from those things. And after that, things pick up a bit. So now I feel led to look for places to live. So I'm looking. I don't typically like to go the management company route because I used to work for like a rental database company. And I just prefer private owners. I had a private owner at my last house, so that's what I wanted. But I also knew that with private owners, you have to have all that money up front. Management companies, they have specials, right? But it's harder to get approved by management companies because once they run your credit, run whatever, once they say no, they say no. So I applied to a few places. No, I didn't even apply. I was looking at some places, right? I found a place, and I thought the houses were beautiful. I thought the environment was beautiful. Everything about it I was in love with. Thought the rent was affordable for what you get. And I think I reached out to them on Zillow, like just a little email message, and somebody emailed me from there. And we were emailing for a little bit. I called them, no answer, and nobody ever called. Oh, actually, hold on, wait. No, I started doing this before the fast. Yes. Okay, I remember now. I started doing this before the fast. So I'm looking for places before the fast. I called like 3 different places, I think, and I didn't hear back from any of them. So I just kind of let it go. I'm like, it's time to fast, so I fast, right? On day 2 of my fast, I think I just got done praying. I was in the middle of reading the word, and one of those places called me back. I didn't recognize about the number, but I talked to the lady, and she seemed very nice. She's like, yeah, like, I don't know, something about the conversation seemed promising. She sends me all the information. I look at the website, I look at the houses, and I'm like, beautiful. These houses are beautiful. It had a special, but it wasn't like the best special, but it was a special nonetheless. And so I'm like, okay, this is what I want. Now, because I was fasting, and I just took it that it was from God, right? So I spent the money to apply. I spent for the application fee, the admin fee. I spent that money, right? And I'm thinking this was like December 28th. Now, around this time, I knew that if I was to move, I would be moving like January 20 something. I knew that before all this, but I'm like, well, if I apply now, like maybe I can move sooner, because the move-in date for this place was January 3rd, which meant that I would have had to leave from DC January 1st to get there on time. Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be good. It's promising, but then January 1st comes, and they're still, I haven't had an approval or anything yet. I haven't even heard from them. Like, I apply, and they're just like, oh, we're still checking on this. Then, like, my kids get sick with the flu. So I'm like, okay, first week of January, I'm not going nowhere, because, mind you, my car isn't working. My baby father was driving my car and did something with it. It wasn't working anymore. So my car is not working. He's also not fixing it. Little did I know, he had got his own car. So he basically said, forget my car, once he had his own car. So my car's just sitting, not getting taken care of, which means I wouldn't have had a way down there at that time anyway. My kids are sick. I'm not hearing anything back from the apartment people. So now I'm just like growing a little impatient, because I'm like, God, I thought this was like, what's taking so long? So then finally, after like a week or so, I think like the second week of January, I get an approval with conditions from this place. And so the lady's asking me for my last rent receipt and a higher deposit. I said, okay, to the higher deposit. And this is where things get a little tricky. So I did not have a last rent receipt, because my landlord did not ask us to pay anything before we left. He just asked us to leave. So I pretty much tried to finagle that. And then after that, she asked me for like my landlord's information. Again, I finagled that too. And this is the thing, when God has ordained something for, like when God's hand is in something, you don't have to do any of that. Like, you don't have to lie or deceive or anything to attain it. It's just yours, because that's how God set that up. And so I was feeling like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this. Even though I met the conditions, the people called and told me, hey, be on the lookout for your lease, I just had it knowing that like this isn't gonna work, right? And so my fast is done, and I'm kind of just trying to prepare to leave now. And they deny me after so long. And at this point, I'm kind of devastated. Not necessarily by the denial, but I just felt like they had really led me on for a long time. And I was banking on this so much because I thought it was from God. And I'm like, y'all dragged this out for like 2 or 3 weeks. I could have been focused on another place. Now I have to start the moving process all over again. And I just don't know how long it's going to take me to find somewhere. And so I was really devastated, upset. But I knew not to allow myself to wallow in that, because at this point I know that when you wallow in something, you're just giving the devil space to come in and torment you and draw a wedge between you and God. And I was determined not to do that this time. So I think I wallowed for like a day or two. And then I came to God and I was like, look, God, I'm disappointed. I am. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm just disappointed in, but you're a promise keeper. Now, mind you, I think the last day of my fast, God led me to play some worship music. My worship playlist is kind of always the same. So I am listening to my worship music, and then Waymaker comes on. And it's like, as soon as it comes on, I get super emotional. Like, and this is not typically a song I cry on, it's just a cool song, but I'm like super emotional. And it's like he's highlighting the lyrics on the screen for me: promise keeper, waymaker, miracle worker. He's highlighting these words to me, and it's making me sob profusely even more. And I don't know why I'm so emotional, but I know it's because he's reminding me of who he is. He's reminding me he's a miracle worker. He's a promise keeper. He's a way maker, because he's doing a thing for me. It was like confirmation of like, daughter, I got you. You're going to move. I got this. You just have to trust me. And I just felt so seen and validated, and just loved by him in that moment, that he had that moment with me. Like, I was undone. I was boo crying, child. And I just felt so good. You know what I'm saying? And so that kept me after that denial. I'm like, okay, look, you wouldn't have highlighted that if you weren't going to make a way. So that place just wasn't for me. That's okay. What is for me? Like, just lead me to the place, right? So I applied to another place. They denied me, but they denied me quickly. So I was very grateful for that. And so my very first option, like the very first place that I saw and thought was so beautiful, they reached out to me again. This is the place that I called first. We were messaging. I called them. They didn't respond back. And at this point, like 3 weeks had gone by. So I forgot about them. They just weren't even an option to me anymore. I just was like, okay, whatever. They reach out to me, but it's a new leasing agent. I think before I was talking to a woman, and this time it's a guy. And so also, this is the enemy. So when I first seen this place on Zillow, I was like in love with it, right? But then like almost immediately after, it's like something, the enemy projected like sundown town into my mind. And so I was like, is this a sundown town? Like, let me Google it. Let me see. And the internet didn't explicitly say it was a sundown town. I think it was like listed as like borderline on one article, but it wasn't. There was really nothing explicitly saying that this is a sundown town. They listed some towns in Texas that are like that, but they didn't list this as this. And this is not Dallas. I'm like an hour from Dallas, but I think God wanted me to look in that central area so that he could pinpoint a certain specific city to me. But for content creator purposes, I still put like Dallas, Texas in all my stuff so that brands know that I am a Dallas, Texas content creator. That's like the first major city closest to me. So anyways, so the fact that they never responded to me, and the fact that like sundown town thing entered my mind, I kind of was like turned off of them, right? But then this guy, he messages me. He's so nice, and he's like so helpful, and I'm kind of like paying him dust at first. I'm like, yeah, okay, like I was talking to somebody before, I called, nobody answered, and blah blah blah. He was like, oh yeah, like you probably talked to such and such. She doesn't work here anymore. I actually took her place. So that's why you didn't hear anything, because her spot was open for a while. But I'm here now, and whatever. So we do like the virtual tour. We do all that. He sends me the application link. I don't click on it, nothing. I just whatever. I have another tour with another guy, and he's really nice too. He gives me a virtual tour. He shows me the apartment. Mind you, I did not want to live in an apartment. I wanted to live in a house, whether it was a duplex, like a townhouse, or just a single family home, but not an apartment. No. So the place he showed me was an apartment. It had all the space I needed though. It didn't have 4 bedrooms. I wanted a 4-bedroom because I wanted my kids to have their own rooms. Of course, me to have my own room, and I wanted to have a room that's like my studio / office, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of things like the podcast. I have a business. I do, and just just regular admin stuff. I wanted to have a space for that. That's not my room. And so he had 3 bedrooms and like a living area upstairs. It's kind of like his own separate room. He had all the space. He was so nice, but I just wasn't sold on it. But then he was like, look, just apply for the place and you'll be approved. Like, he said it like, yeah, there's no denial. You'll just get approved. And so I'm like, hey, like, how does that work? Because, I just been denied like twice. So when he sent me the link was from the same company that the first place was with. Same company, both facilities. So I'm like, oh, the fact that this guy said like just apply and you'll be approved, like that sounded so promising. That stuck out to me. It sounded promising. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just apply for the first one, the one that I thought was a sundown town. Let me just apply for that one since they use the same company. Maybe the same principle applies here. But I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm not expecting it. I also don't have money for the application fees anymore. Like, I think I only had like a couple $100. Spent that, I didn't have no more money. But as I am about to apply for the sundown town, it's not really sundown town, but as I'm applying for that one, I believe I hear God say, overdraft your account. Like, use the other card. You can overdraft. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, it's gonna get denied. Like, I'm not thinking anything, right? Fill it out. Put my card information down. Hit submit. I'm about to close my laptop. I get an email. Says it was approved. I'm like, there's no way I got approved that quickly. Mind you, the office was about to close. So he sent me that link like that morning. And when I submitted the application, the office was about to close in like 6 minutes, I think. So I sent it. I emailed him like, hey, I just applied. I just did the application. He responds back immediately. And he's like, okay, I'm going to run it before I leave here tonight. And in the morning, I'll call you about, the results, whatever. So I said, okay. So I'm about to close my laptop. I get an email probably like, 4 minutes before they close saying, congrats, you've been approved for the apartment for, whatever. And I'm like, there's no way I was really just approved. Like, I just did not believe it. So I log into the portal to see, and it says I have been approved, and to overlook the lease and things like that, like moving costs. And I'm like, there's no way I was just approved for this place. There's no way. But I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna get my hopes up, because he said he was gonna call me tomorrow. The next day comes, he don't call me. And so now I'm a little bit scarred from the first place. Okay, if I don't hear from you, I'm just like, Lord, what's going on? So, also emailed him. He didn't respond back. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. So then the next day, I'm like, I'm just going to call because I need to know. So I call and he picks up. He's like, oh, I was literally just about to call you. Yeah, you were approved and everything. He kind of just told me like the stuff I needed for moving and moving costs, and he was going to send me the lease to sign and all these things. And so I'm just like flabbergasted. So I'm like, okay, I'm not even getting excited until I sign this freaking lease. Okay, so I signed the lease. I'm like, okay, I have a place to freaking stay. I have a place to stay. But there's other issues now. How am I going to get there? Because my car still doesn't work. And my baby father is the one who's supposed to be fixing it. My car at this point had been sitting for a month. He was supposed to get this fixed like the same week. He didn't. My car had been sitting there stagnant for a month. And the issues seemed very simple. Like you could easily fix it. But I thought oil was the issue. That wasn't the issue. It did snow a couple days, so the mechanic couldn't come out and fix it on those days. But then it's like, you're not even caring about, like, my baby father was off spending money, and I'm like, okay, you're spending money when you're supposed to be getting my car fixed, you know what I'm saying? Was not getting my car fixed. And I tried to work. I tried to, like, a week before, because I signed my lease, but I was supposed to move like a week later. Like, there was no time. Every day counted. So I needed like $1,000 to just move in. I needed like an extra couple hundred for gas to come down here. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use my baby father's car to do GoPuff, because that's who I was contracted with. So I tried to do GoPuff, right? So my thing was like, I'm gonna work from like 5, 6 till 3 in the morning. When they close, I can make a couple $100s a day, and I'll be able to make the money to move, right? So the first day I go out, and all of a sudden, I go available. I go to a warehouse. Warehouse is closed. So that I just wasted like 30 minutes there, because I had to drive to the warehouse. I'm at the warehouse trying to figure out how to get in. There's another GoPuffer there, and he's like, "No, they're closed. I just talked to Chad. Like, they're closed." I'm like, "They're closed, but they're taking offers." Like, I had gotten orders there, so I had to go to another warehouse. I go to another warehouse. I go available. I get a notification that GoPuff is running my background check, and I'm like, "Why aren't I on my background check again?" Like, They run your background check before they approve you to work on their platform. So that was just very weird to me. But I didn't think nothing of it. Like, okay, whatever. I'm just thinking it's a glitch, right? So I have an order, and I do the orders. And that was crazy. That took me a long time, because the first order, like, I missed my turn, and they like put me on the highway, so I had to find my way back to the person. I get to the person, he not answering the freaking door. I'm out there in the cold for, I don't know, probably wasn't that long, like less than 10 minutes, but still, like, you know I was coming. He finally opened the door. He finally get his order. I drive to the next person. I drop off their order. Very nice. Both people very nice. So I get in the car, about to, go take my next order. I can't log in. I'm logged out and I can't log back in. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I try my other phone. Can't log in. So I'm like, I can't, like, you have to be in the app to talk to their, because then you can't call them. You can only chat them. But you have to be in the app to chat the customer service people. I can't get in touch with them. Finally, they send me a freaking email saying, "Oh, your account's been deactivated because we are waiting for your background check to clear." Mid-shift, my account gets deactivated. And apparently GoPuff just do that. It just run your background check randomly every couple months or something like that. I didn't know that. But, yeah. There was nothing I could do, right? So I tried to use my baby father's DoorDash account. I log into his DoorDash account. Deactivated. I'm like, bruh, how are both things I'm using deactivated when I need to use them? My GoPuff was literally, I had GoPuff on my phone for like 3 months, never had an issue. My baby father was using DoorDash for literal months. Like, he was just using it for like the week before, and it was fine. But all of a sudden, the night I'm out here trying to work and do what I gotta do, deactivated. It's always like, when I'm trying to work, God is like, no. Mind you, I told y'all, let me go back. Mind you, I told you I got that offer letter for that job. I knew I wasn't going to do that job because of what the job entailed. But God, he wanted me to apply for jobs so I could have that offer letter as proof of income, because he knew I wasn't working. I had that job that said I would make 6 figures so I could get approved for this place. But I'm not. It's way too far. Like, I couldn't work there anyway. You know what I'm saying? But that's why he had me apply for jobs, so I could have an offer letter as proof of income. But it's like, he don't actually want me to work. Like, he's not allowing it. I also don't want to work, but I don't want to sit by and just be like, oh, God's going to make something happen. Like, if I need to be proactive, I'm going to be proactive. But it's like, he's not telling me to work. You know what I'm saying? I only have a couple more days. I tell my baby father that I'm moving. He doesn't know where I'm moving, but he knows that I'm moving, and he's not happy about it. So he's kind of intentionally trying to sabotage me. You know what I'm saying? He kept saying, I'm going to get the car fixed this week. He knew I needed to leave by Thursday. Something about Thursday comes and my car is still not fixed. Okay. That morning, he came in the front, was like, okay, I'm going to have the mechanic come work on your car today. Well, he didn't get back till like that night. No mechanic, no nothing. Out shopping for my son. He was intentionally trying to sabotage me. But God, okay? So I'm like freaking out. So that night, I tell my sister in Christ, I'm like, sis, I don't think God did not want me to work. Like, what are the odds that both things are deactivated? You know, yada, 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 right? So she tells me to go on a fast. So she says, tomorrow just go on a fast so that you hear from him clearly. I said, okay. I was kind of already feeling that way, but I had just got off my 3-day fast. So I wasn't, you know, whatever. So I go on a fast, right? Immediately, like that, I feel like that morning, he was like, sell your car. And I was like, sell my car? If I sell my car, I ain't gonna have no car. Mind you, this did pop into my head before, probably like a month before. But I just rejected it because I'm like, that don't make no sense. Like, why would I sell my car? But I was looking at trading options, you know, because my thing is like, if I get a better car, I can use that car to do GoPuff and make the money and all that. But that's not what he was saying. He was saying sell the car. Don't trade it in, you sell it. And so I had got a quote for my car because while I was trying to trade it in, I think AutoNation was like, just sell us the car. Even if you don't trade it in, like this is what your car is worth. So he brought that to my remembrance. So like, yeah, you can get this amount for your car if you sell it. And that amount would have covered my moving costs and gas for, you know, the move. So I'm thinking about her. I'm like, this is God, but it's like the more I think about it, the more he's making it make sense to me. Like, he's like, yeah, sell the car. You can get a rental. You have your moving costs. You have gas. Don't worry about getting it. Because I want a new car anyway. Like, for the past probably 6 to 8 months, I've been wanting a new car. And God told me that, like, I would have my new car. Like, once I moved where I needed to move, he would give me a new car. So I'm like, okay, I know God's going to give me a new car. But, like, I thought that I was going to have a car to maybe trade in so I could leave same day with a car. But he's like, no, don't worry about it. You're going to get the new car. Sell the car so you can get down there. So I said, okay. At this point, I have like 3, maybe 4 days to do this. How am I going to sell a car in 2 days? So I had to leave Friday. I think Sunday. Monday is when I think tried to sell the car. So I find a buyer. They give me an offer. I'm like, cool, but I have to find the title to my car. Mind you, when I got back to, this is how God works all things together, right? So when I had came to DC in September, mind you, my car been up for repossession. Been up for the past year or so. All of a sudden my car get repoed and I'm devastated. I'm like, bruh. Now my car got repoed. Like, why did my car get repoed? They call me with a settlement. They're like, look, this is how much you owe, but the account has been closed. So like, just pay this amount and you'll own the car and we'll send you the title and consider your debt paid. So I'm like, okay. I didn't have that money though. So I had to ask my brother for the money and he gave me the money, which I still have to pay him back, by the way. So if you see this, bro, I'm gonna pay you back. I got you. Okay. I got you. Just continue to be patient with me. Okay. But no, he gave me the money. We paid the settlement. Well, he gave me part of the money and my baby father had the other half of it. We paid the settlement. I own the car and they sent me the title. But I did not know they sent me the title because my baby father, like, I was getting mail at his house, but he wasn't telling me I was getting mail. He was just like keeping it. And so I wasn't getting mail unless I was asking for it. Like, I think there were some pieces of mail that I was expecting. So I was asking him for it and then he gave it to me. But like any mail I got before or after that, like I wouldn't know because he would not tell me and he would not give me my mail. I didn't think nothing of it. Okay, I own my car, whatever. Maybe I'll just keep it longer now because since I own it, I don't have to pay no car note. But God did that for a reason. I was wondering, like, why would you allow that to happen? Like, my car could have got repo at any other point. No. I'm trying to sell the car. They're like, okay, cool. Do you have the title? And I'm like, no. But I own it. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, well, you need to get the title. We can't do the sale if you don't have the title. Or we can do the sale without the title, but you get significantly less. And that wasn't worth it, right? So I called the bank people. And I'm like, hey, did y'all send me the title for my car? Because X, Y, and Z. They're like, oh yeah, like we sent your title out like end of October. It's January. Okay. So they sent it out. They sent it out. And so I'm like, okay. It must have gotten the mail. He just didn't give me my mail. So I'm calling my baby father and I'm like, did you get something from such and such? Because that was my car title. So he's like, I mean, I don't know. You got to look for it. Mind you, his house is so cluttered, so junky, so messy, like hoarder type. And I'm like, I'm not looking through all that for this. He's like, all right, I'll just look for it when I get home. So he comes home. He's looking for it for like an hour, like a long time. He finally finds it. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Because I was praying, like, Lord, let him miraculously find the title. He finds the title. I look at it. Everything looks good. And I call the people back the next morning. And I'm like, I have the title. Here's a picture of the title. When can I pick up the car? Thank the Lord. They were able to pick up the car same day. Like, I called them early in the morning. So I called them. They do this. They get the sale. They arrange for the pickup. The pickup people's like, yeah, we could come in the next, like, couple hours or whatever. Clean out your car. Take the tags off. Da-da-da. Cool. So I clean out the car. I take off one of my tags, the other tag, I can take it off, whatever. The guy comes and he gives me the check. He signs the check. I sign the check. He takes the car. I'm like, God, I cannot believe I just successfully sold this car. Like, the car is gone. I don't have a car no more. Like, oh my goodness, I got the money. I don't have a car. Like, I was so geeked about it. So I took it immediately to the bank to try to cash it. Wasn't able to cash it same day. And I didn't want to take a chance and cash it the next day. Because if I wasn't able to cash it the next day, that would have put me back like an extra day. And I couldn't afford that. So I just deposited it into my account. The funds would have been available that Thursday, which was later than I expected. I wanted to have my rental car about Wednesday so that I could pack up Thursday or Wednesday night and just get on the road Thursday. But it didn't work like that. Whatever, right? So funds available Thursday. I book the rental, and Thursday morning I get up to go to Enterprise to get the car, and Enterprise is like, we can't give you the car because why they couldn't give me the car? Oh, you need a credit card. And I had not ordered my new credit card because I wasn't in my stable house yet, so I only had my virtual one. They could not take the virtual one. They needed a physical one, so I couldn't go with Enterprise. Mind you, Enterprise would have been more expensive. Okay, I go to Budget. I go to Avis. I got the money. I got everything. They have to credit check you with a debit card, and my credit, they denied me because of my credit. So now I'm like, God, like, mind you, before I went to go to get the car, I asked God to like block any attacks from the enemy. And if there's any delay, anything from today, let it be from God and God alone, so that I know that he didn't want this to happen for XYZ reason, right? So I'm like, I have no other options. My baby father, he thinks I'm moving somewhere else. So he's like, I could just get the car for you, but in order for him to get the car for me, he would have had to know where I was moving, and I wasn't going to tell him that. So I went on Turo. I'm like, I'm just going to go on Turo. So I go on Turo, I book a car, I pay for it immediately. It's available in like freaking 30 minutes. So I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's okay. I have a car. And mind you, this car was like pretty cheap. Like, it was cheaper than Enterprise would have been for sure. Get the car. We go get the car. The car's nice. And I'm like, okay, cool. I freaking have a car. We're doing this. We're moving. But then I'm like, God, this is Turo. This is not like Enterprise where you could drop it off at a separate location. Like, I'm going to have to bring this car back. How am I going to bring this car back? Okay, I had to slightly change up the setup because I had to charge my phone. The audio might sound a little weird too, but just bear with me. We almost done. So at this point, I'm like, God, I'm going to need to be able to bring this car back. And I'm not going to be able to bring this car back because if I drove this car back, how am I going to get me and the kids back to freaking Texas? Like, I did, for a brief moment, I did what I always do when I'm operating in fear. And I was like, oh, my grandma can drive the car back. You know, I could just pick her up on the way down because I had to drive through Harrisonburg to get to Texas anyway. And she has some mail for me or something. So I'm like, I could just pick her up, drive down that will also be more convenient for me. The word convenient is what let me know I'm not operating in faith. Like, because that's what I always use to justify why I go back to, those people, whatever. So it'll be convenient. Me and her can like split the drive, which means we'll get there quicker because we won't need to stop as much. And then, we can move in. She can just drive the car back up, yada, yada. But then it's like, okay, how's she going to get back to Harrisonburg? And I'm like, well, my baby father could drive her back to Harrisonburg. But then I asked him and he didn't want to drive her back to Harrisonburg. Like, I had it all figured out though. And she said she would do it. She said, yeah, I'll help you drive the car. And I was like, I was happy for a minute, but I was like, God, did I do it again? Like, did I do what I always do again? Because at this point, I'm not doing something that is gonna bind me again. Like, I just turned 30 in November, and after spending all of my 20s bound up and tormented by that narcissistic spirit and those two people, I refuse to have that happen in my 30s and in this new season. Like, I cannot. Even if it would have went smoothly, I just cannot have, this is a move I have to make alone. Like, I cannot make this move with these people in it. You know what I'm saying? I thought about it and I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna gauge it like this. Because the car I got was bigger than my car, which means that it just fit more things better. So I'm like, all right, God, like, let me know if I should do that or not. Because, blah, 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 blah. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, it leaves too much room for error. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my grandma in my house at all. Like, and it's not really my grandma, it's the spirits in her. And also, like, this house is for me and my kids, and she does not get along with my son for whatever reason. And so you're not going to make him feel uncomfortable in his house. You know what I'm saying? We've done that for years. And so even a day here, nothing about it felt right. But I was like, but like my grandma, da, da, da. So I'm like, all right, God, if there's not enough room for her, I'll take that as a sign that I get her. Like, I won't get her. Y'all. Even with all the space the car had, she still wouldn't have been able to fit. It would have been so tight. And it could be tight for like an hour drive, you know what I'm saying? For a 19-hour drive. Like, me and her could have sat in the front. But then my kids would have had to be bunched up, sit next to each other in the back, next to all the bags and stuff. And that's just uncomfortable. Like, I want them to be comfortable in the drive too. Like, they already got to sit here for freaking 19 hours. I don't want them to be bunched up. You know what I'm saying? But even then, I was still trying to be like, God, should I? Da, da, da. So my sister Stephanie, she calls me before we go on the road just to pray and everything like that. And I kind of mentioned my grandma to her. She was like, I don't know about that, sis. And that was enough. Like, that was enough confirmation for me to be like, okay, yeah, no, I can't do it. Like, it's just too much room for error. And this is just not something that God wants me to do. And this is me operating in fear, not faith. And so I'm like, okay, God, like, I ain't gonna get her, but like, how am I get this car back? And then like, as I'm driving, he tells me, you can get the car towed. So I double check to make sure I can get the car towed on Turo, and you can. So I'm like, okay, that's fine with me. Like, cool, worked out, right? So I actually do go to Harrisonburg because I wanted to go to, I wanted to get my money order there because I just trust them more. And I also wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to stop by one last time. And so we stopped by one last time, and it just didn't feel like home no more. You know what I'm saying? My son wanted to drive past our old house one last time, and we did, and it didn't feel like it was for us no more. Like, it just felt like our time there was done. Like, just how everything was. Like, his best friend, like, his dad usually reaches out to me a lot. He was actually supposed to reach out to me for the kids to hang out, but he never reached out to me. And the fact that, like, that relationship kind of died on its own was also confirmation that, like, God was moving us out of there. And usually my son asks for his best friend. Like, so he has not asked for him. He has not asked about him, like, at all. And so I'm just like, wow, like, yeah, That was God saying like, yeah, y'all don't live, it's not your home no more. It was never supposed to be your home. That was just where you're supposed to go through your wilderness with me. But that's not your promised land. Like, you know, you go anywhere to the promised land. So I stopped at Harrisonburg, but I did not go get her. I kept driving. And just everything about the drive, like my mom talked to me for most of the drive. And as I said earlier, and if you know me personally, me and my mom do not have the best relationship at all. Actually, I was like really close to cutting my mom off for good, like permanently cutting her off this past year. But once I signed my lease and everything, God put it on my heart to call my mom and tell her. And I thought that was so weird because like, what am I calling my mom for? I don't update her on my life, you know? Like we don't have a relationship where I call her and tell her stuff like that. But it wouldn't go away. So I called my mom just to tell her like, yeah, mom, you know, I'm moving to Texas, blah, 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 blah. And she was happy for me. And she quickly became concerned when I told her that I was driving myself and the kids for 19 hours. And so she just became really motherly. And I've never experienced my mom in that way that I can remember anyway, except for one time. One time in high school, she kind of was like motherly, but I didn't respect it at the time because I was a teenager and wanted what I wanted, even though it wasn't good for me. But as an adult, this is the first time she really felt like my mother, like a mother, you know? And I was very surprised. And her husband, I guess she says it's her husband, so it's her husband, he was very concerned too. And he gave me some numbers to call for people to talk to and, you know, just to check in with so that everybody knew I was safe. And he and my mom stayed up overnight with me to make sure that I was okay on the road at night. And so for most of that ride, I was talking to my mom for like hours at a time. And it went very well. And I had never talked to me and my mom do not communicate like this. She also had me reach out to my aunt. And I'm not very close with any of my family, honestly. So she had me call my aunt and everything like that. And so the focus was really on like family, and that was different. It's not normal for me, but it felt very intentional. Like God was highlighting family. And I was like, you're highlighting family for a reason, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't know if he's making room for reconciliation or a relationship to be able to form or what. I'm open to whatever it is he wants. But it's just new, you know what I'm saying? So I spoke to my mom most of the time I got here. She's the last person I spoke to before I actually made it here and spoke to the leasing agent and everything like that. I moved in and I called my aunt and everything, and I didn't know I had as much stuff as I did, but literally when I unpacked everything, I'm like, we have everything that we need, you know? I took a little bit of stuff from their dad's house, like laundry detergent and toilet paper and stuff like that. While I had the car, because I had the car for the weekend, I was able to get some bar stools for the island and a love seat and ottoman for downstairs, which just so we have somewhere to sit and so we're comfortable, you know what I'm saying? And the way God orchestrated that, it's he orchestrated everything so perfectly and effortlessly. I initially was supposed to get a couch from a lady who was far away, but he had it to where I only had to travel 13 minutes to get a couch. And it fit perfectly in the car, perfectly. Even the love seat situation, again, just down the street, $15 for some bar stools, you know what I'm saying? So literally, of course, the house doesn't look how I'm not able to furnish it how I want, but I am so grateful to have everything that I need. I have a full kitchen, a full pantry, full fridge. We have plenty of clothes. We have cleaning supplies. We have a bed. We have everything that we need in this house right now, and I'm so grateful for that. And the leasing agent, gave me like a Starbucks gift card, just as a thank you, and a little like thermal cup. It's really cute. Also, let me talk about the place. So the place that I moved into was the first place that I was looking at that the enemy tried to tell me was a sundown town, or like basically tried to just sow doubt. Y'all might hear a bunch of noise in the background. That's my kids playing outside. So yeah. But so God intentionally put me in this community because this is not just a regular community where you just live. This place is very heavily focused on health and wellness and fitness and things like that. And they're focused on community. So that's important to me because health and wellness is a God-given passion. Like, he gave me that passion back in 2017 after I had my son, and I fell in love with all things health and wellness, so much so that I started a business rooted in that. I have a health and wellness business just offering, like beauty supplies and just candles, things like that helps your health and wellness, self-care regimen and things like that. And if you want to check it out, you can. It's at tgnwellness.com. I'll also have all the information for that stuff down below in the box if you want to support me in any way. The vision that God gave me for my company perfectly aligns with this community because I get to network with people who are already doing things that I want to do. I get to build community with people who have the same passion as mine. I get to also spread the gospel because we know in the wellness community, there's a lot of witches in there, a lot of witchcraft, And so I get to spread the gospel, what I'm saying? I get to do this the right way, the God way, and not, some other way and things like that. And so I also wanted community wherever I moved. And so I'm pretty much used to just doing life with just me and God. But this community already is like, hey, we're doing this event. We have this event going. Like, they have events all the time, and they want you to show up. And so I have to get back used to like interacting with people and being around people, and what I'm saying, like interacting, networking, building community, and things like that. And so he placed me here because it directly lines up with my career, my desires, what I want. Also, like, unfortunately, I weigh the most I have ever weighed in life. Like, I got some work to do, what I'm saying? And so placing me here while I'm working on that just is perfect. Like, literally, my house is right in front of the gym. Walk across the street, I'm at the gym. God could have put me in any house. This neighborhood is huge. Okay, he could have placed me at the very, very back. He placed me literally right in front of the gym. The floor plan that I live in is called Divine. Are you kidding me? Like, everything about this place, God has his mark on. That is really just like my advice to you. Like, if God has you on a journey where you're trusting him for a move or for like a business venture or anything like that, lean into him. Be patient. You have to be long-suffering. Like, you have to. Like, it's a fruit of the spirit. Be patient. Be long-suffering. Trust him. Lean into him and trust the process. Seriously. Also, I want to mention this place had the best specials. Out of everywhere I looked, this place had the best specials and concessions. Literally. Like, they took care of me. And the people here are so nice. And he literally placed me in the best community. Even just the city. Everybody's so stinking nice. Like, Texas fits me like a glove. This part specifically. Again, I'm not in Dallas. I'm accessible to Dallas though. But this place just literally fits like a glove. It feels like I'm supposed to be here. It's almost like everything happened for a reason. Even like me rebelling or just being a brat, everything like that. It just seems like God used every single moment for this moment. Like, and I just feel so free. I went to the gym today for the first time in months. Okay. Like, I don't know the last time I went to the gym, to be honest with you. And it was so much fun. And it was not as hard. It's like I'm in this promised land. It's like, because I have no bondage, I have nobody in the house, nobody I live with weighing me down, things are easier. I feel lighter. I'm not yoked up in the spirit like I was before, and I feel literally amazing. And I love my house. It's beautiful. It's so spacious. I have a 2-car garage, so when I do get my car again, my car is coming soon. I know it. Like, God got me. Also, yeah, so the car situation, I was very nervous about that because I was trying to get it towed, but then the host was like, oh, nothing's wrong with the car. Like, because I tried to say something's wrong with the car to get a tow. He was like, oh, nothing's wrong with the car. So, like, he completely blew that up. Then I just was honest with him, like, look, I can't drive the car back. And I thought he was going to freak out. He was like, oh, that's okay. Just, like, tell them and they'll tow it back. I called. They said they couldn't do anything about it. So I had him call, and he was able to get a tow up, and he thought that it was going to come out of my pocket, but it was actually free. So the car was successfully towed back to Virginia, where I picked it up at. And so literally, like, even that's a God thing, because how what are the odds that all these things wind up this way? And it's like, if you just literally just have faith in him. Because if I would have stayed operating in fear, my grandma would have been here. And honestly, I didn't even feel comfortable, like, having her drive all that way by herself. Like, she could do it because she used to drive, like, she used to make these drives all the time. And even though she's older, like, she's in her 70s, like, she's not your average 70-year-old, okay? Like, she moves about like she's like 50 something, honestly. But still, like, she's still older. And I just didn't want her doing all that driving by herself like that. And she wouldn't have really had time to stop because the car had to be back by Monday. So she would have had to leave. If she wanted to stop, she would have had to leave like Saturday. Like, no doubt she would have had to leave. So I just didn't want to do her like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that, like, he just worked everything out, like, he will honor your faith. Like, have faith in him. He will honor your faith, like, truly. So, that is the story of how God supernaturally moved me to Texas, with no money, like, no job, no car. I was homeless, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was living with my kid's father, but, like, that was not my home. I didn't have a home no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have nothing to my name. So that's the story. If y'all have any questions or anything like that, drop them down in the comment section below. I might make another video addressing some of those questions, or just anything that I missed in this testimony video, because I know it was a lot. I tried to squeeze like 3 years worth of testimony in one video. But yeah, it's possible I could have forgotten some things. So if you have any questions, drop them down in the comment section below and I'll answer them. And if I'm getting the same questions over and over again, or if like certain questions were like just require more time, I'll make another video about it. But that's my testimony video. And just be on the lookout now, because I'm here, you know what I'm saying? So I'm about to really like dedicate time to this YouTube thing. So like, subscribe, y'all, subscribe, follow me. I'll have all my other socials down in the comment section below, but I'm Torrancemarchil on TikTok and Instagram. You can't really find me anywhere else. I mean, I am on Twitter, but like not really. Threads, if you care about Threads. I'm not on Facebook. Torrancemarchil is on Facebook as like a content creator page, but I don't post there. I think my Instagram posts still go over there, but basically wherever you want to find me, I'm Torrancemarchil, except for YouTube and Spotify where the podcast is. I am the T-Shell Show there. But yeah, like, subscribe and just be on the lookout for new videos, and let me know what you want to see from me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm not gonna hold you up any longer. I will see y'all in the next video. And with that, I bid you adieu. Bye.